you know. So I usually do my homework. I find somebody who knows somebody or something. They could give me some information, like who is it? Like who is he? And you know, Frenchie, they got me the tape. They got me the tape of his mother's house, where his mom's work at. You know what I'm saying? The other cribs, the studios, stuff like that.
That's the Cali tape.
Right.
Okay.
I also.
So this is the daughter of the ruler of Dubai, and apparently she uses controversial rule on social media.
50 Cent just refuses to give French Montana a break. Every time French's name pops up in the headlines, Fif is right there, with a troll locked and loaded, ready to fire off. But this time, the jab isn't just another petty dig, it's cracked open something much bigger. Because behind all the flashy headlines and Instagram perfect moments, French Montana might not just be dodging industry beef. He could be stepping into something way more dangerous, the golden, glittering, but suffocating cage of Dubai royalty. On paper, it looks like the ultimate flex. French Montana engaged to a Dubai princess, whose family fortune is worth a mind-blowing $18 billion. To the casual fan, it looks like he's leveled up from street kid to global royalty overnight. But peel back the layers, and the story isn't nearly as shiny. Word is, this move isn't just about love, it's about survival. See, with Diddy still tangled up in federal investigations and whispers that prosecutors are quietly gathering dirt on anyone connected to those infamous freak-off parties, French knew he needed an escape hatch. And Dubai? It looked like the safest possible sanctuary. But here's the twist. Paradise comes with shadows. People who understand Dubai's darker underbelly will tell you straight, yes, the skyline sparkles, the Lamborghinis drip with diamonds, and the wealth seems endless. But some of those same royals have long been rumored to harbor appetites money can't sanitize. Compared to the stories that swirl behind closed doors in Dubai, Hollywood scandals look like PG-rated reruns. The rumors about princes keeping collections of pretty faces or Western celebrities being flown out for acts too filthy to repeat those whispers didn't start yesterday. So when people see French, a man famous for chasing bags, partying wild, and always finding his way into the inner circles of powerful men, suddenly arm in arm with a billionaire princess, the timing feels suspiciously perfect. To outsiders, it looks less like romance and more like strategy, a survival move dressed up in designer tuxedos and diamond rings. And this is where 50 Cent's shade hits hardest. When he says French got bought, he's not just clowning about the engagement ring, he's pointing to the bigger picture, that French didn't actually escape the game at all. He just traded one master for another. He ran from the storm swirling around Diddy, only to land in a kingdom with its own shadows, still bowing down to men with endless money, unchecked power, and no accountability. The irony is brutal. Instead of breaking free, French Montana might have just stepped into a new cage, one lined with gold but locked all the same.
Hi guys.
French Montana thought Dubai was his golden escape hatch. But if even half the whispers about those princes hold weight, then he didn't dodge danger. He walked straight out of Bad Boy's fire and right into Dubai's blazing stove. And here's the real twist. Unlike the feds, who eventually cut deals or move on, Dubai royalty plays for keeps. That's why this so-called $7 billion safety plan feels less like salvation and more like another glittering cage. Sure, French may have bought himself some time, but at what cost?
Collar comes out, like we said, and now you have real deals on the table. And out of all those, you go with Diddy.
That's not how it really went.
Was it Diddy? Was it Bad Boy MMG?
Yeah, I went to go see Ross. And Ross was like, I got an opportunity for you. I don't have the money for you, but I got the opportunity. I guess because the same thing Meek did, the same thing Wale did. I guess whatever the way the situation, his label was, he wasn't trying to give me the money I wanted, and I wanted like a whole bunch of money. But he was like, look, let's do it like this. Let's call Puff, and let's get him to give you the bag. You can still be MMG / you know what I'm saying? Bad Boy, Coke Boys, yep.
Right. How much money did you get?
$2 million.
Now rewind, because to understand French's Dubai move, you first have to unpack how he even got wrapped up in Bad Boy's orbit to begin with. See, French Montana didn't just pop that and magically land a deal. The whole story of his signing always had a strange smell to it, and with all the dirt that spilled out on Diddy over the last 2 years, fans are now re-examining that chapter with fresh suspicion. Here's the part people tend to forget. When French was shopping around, he wasn't some desperate mixtape kid begging for a shot. He had real options. Roc Nation was circling. Rick Ross and MMG were seriously interested. Even Kanye's camp was flirting heavy with the idea of bringing him in. French was holding golden tickets in every direction. So why out of all those tables did he sit down with Diddy, the one label infamous for shady contracts, twisted arrangements, and eyebrow-raising extras? Because insiders say that deal had very little to do with music. Bad Boy wasn't just a record label, it was a whole lifestyle. And for certain artists, that lifestyle was the real currency. The whispers go like this. Diddy didn't just hand French a check. He handed him the keys to the kingdom, exclusive parties, endless women, wild freak-offs, and those unspoken, play nice and you'll get rewarded setups. For French, the price of admission wasn't about beats or bars. It was about stepping into the world where the power came with perks. And the perks always came with strings.
Can I tell you what I actually learned? Yeah. A friend of mine is an air hostess, and her friend was on a flight with her, and her friend was eating like a very specific diet. So apparently the thing is, it's actually a control thing. I don't know if I can speak about sheikhs.
No, speak.
So these guys actually pay these women to hold a strict diet for like 2 weeks so that they can know that they are in complete control of what that woman is putting into her body, and the girl is shit on them.
Wow.
So it's the girls aren't even getting shit on, the girls are shit on these guys, because then the guys feel like it's sick, like it's a control thing. So then they know like, oh, you listened to me for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so that's probably their kink, that girls actually listen to them.
No 2 minute noodle.
Fans have been side-eyeing French's Bad Boy chapter from the very start, and honestly, they had reasons. First, French himself admitted he took less money up front than what Ross or Jay-Z were offering, yet he still chose Puff. Second, the optics never helped. Every time French popped up stumbling out of those infamous villas looking half alive, the internet clocked it instantly. People began pulling up photos and clips from 2016 through 2019, pointing out how worn down French looked. And the timing? It always lined up with those wild weekends Puff was throwing in his honor. Things only got darker after Diddy's arrest in 2024. That's when producers and ex-associates finally started pulling the curtain back on what it really took to secure deals behind those closed doors. One producer even claimed Puff straight up blackballed him after he refused to join a freak-off. So naturally, when fans look back at French's sudden rise, the question becomes, oh, so you stayed, you signed, and you kept cashing in. We know what that means. Now, is there a smoking gun tying French directly to all of it? Number. But the circumstantial tea, it's boiling over. Remember when Puff gifted French his own Ciroc French vanilla flavor literally the day after they were rumored to have been together all night? Or that viral birthday clip, Diddy in a robe, French shirtless, both of them looking way too cozy. And French himself once admitted he wanted the big bag, with Puff being the only one bold enough to hand it over. To the streets, it never looked like a regular label signing. It looked like a man who was willing to pay a personal price for career elevation, and that's exactly why people now believe he's running the same play in Dubai. Because once you've shown the world you'll trade dignity for opportunity, folks assume you'll do it again just with a bigger bag, a shinier stage, and a brand new master pulling the strings. And here's where the rabbit hole really begins to spiral.
Table, and I'm sure there were some other ones also.
Yeah. I came to Steve Rifkin when I had Chopper Down. Mm-hmm. I walked in the office, it was him and Gabi.
Yep.
And Gabi was manager. I was like, yo, Steve, give me $200,000. Let me go make music. You know what I'm saying? Just let me. Steve was like, nah, I'll give it to you.
Never got it.
Never got it. I dropped.
Which is funny because Gabi's the president of SRC. Steve is like the CEO, but
so I don't know what type of
but Steve makes the final call.
Yeah. So I asked for $200,000. You know what I'm saying? And it's like
mid-2024. Paris Fashion Week. French Montana doesn't just pull up in a fresh fit, he shows up with a fiancée. And not just any fiancée, Chiara, a princess directly tied to Dubai's ruling family. Baby, that ain't no regular Bronx love story, that's a calculated chess move. Because while French was smiling for the cameras, back home the feds were stacking evidence on Diddy, the freak-off tapes, the trafficking whispers, the money laundering trails, and suddenly, anyone in Diddy's orbit turned radioactive. Artists, assistants, producers, even casual friends were getting subpoenaed. And French, he wasn't just some industry acquaintance, he was practically Diddy's shadow. The birthday trips, the champagne endorsements, the endless cosigns. If prosecutors wanted their case airtight, French's name had to be in the mix. So what's his next play? He doesn't just lay low, he ties himself to one of the richest families in the Middle East. Reports say the Sheikh's fortune sits north of $18 billion. That's generational oil money, the kind of wealth where $7 billion doesn't even make them blink, and marrying into that, it's more than cash. It's protection. It's a brand new passport to power. Residency in a place where outsiders don't get to dig around in your business. And that's why the streets are buzzing. They don't think French moved on love. They think he moved on survival. The speed of that engagement, the way it perfectly lined up with the heat back in the States. How suddenly French was living more in Dubai than New York or LA. To fans, it looks like a whirlwind fairy tale. But to critics, it screams escape plan wrapped in Cartier and sealed with wedding vows. And the optics don't help. Every time French posts with his princess, he looks cleaner, sharper, almost reborn. But the comments stay messy. Boy, you traded Diddy for Dubai. Or worse, better hope those sheiks don't treat you like Puff did. Because here's the gag. French thinks he leveled up, but people who really know how Middle Eastern royals flex power will tell you sometimes you don't escape a fire. You just walk into a bigger, hotter one. Running from Uncle Sam to the UAE doesn't always equal freedom. Sometimes it just means signing up for a whole new kind of contract. Dubai's image screams Lambos, skyscrapers, and pet tigers on yachts. But behind the curtain, the whispers have been ugly for years. Influencers fly in wide-eyed, chasing that tax-free glam, then sneak back, spilling tea about palace parties, where guests were treated more like props than people, men and women, both, allegedly. Because to some royals, outsiders aren't equals, they're playthings. And here's reality, when you walk into that world broke compared to their billions, you don't make the rules they do. French Montana stacked against a family fortune of $18 billion, he isn't wealthy in that room, he's ornamental, and worse, he has no political power. Ciara herself is the daughter of one of the most powerful autocrats alive. French might be famous in the Bronx, but in Dubai, he's just another accessory, and let's not pretend her family's spotless. Remember Ciara's viral Insta divorce in 2024? One post, 3 words, I divorce you. A shocking move for royal circles. Admirable, sure, but also proof of how messy life inside those palaces can really be. Add on her relatives, Princess Latifah's failed escape, Princess Hessa's alleged abduction, both tied back to her own father, Dubai's ruler and French's brand new father-in-law, and the cracks in that fairy tale glow get even louder, because when power that heavy moves against you, freedom isn't promised, it's gone. So when the internet calls this French's $7 billion escape plan, it suddenly makes sense. Marry into obscene wealth, secure residency, hide beneath a royal shield if the feds come knocking. On paper, genius. But socially, it feels like deja vu. For years, people clowned French as Diddy's boy toy, the shirtless dinners, the birthday serenades, the Ciroc rewards. Now, the gossip's even louder, saying he just swapped one sugar daddy for an entire dynasty of them. And here's the irony. Hip-hop once sold us French as the scrappy underdog, Moroccan grit, Bronx hustle, Coke boys pride. But Dubai royalty ain't bad boy records. You don't outshine them. You don't embarrass them. And you definitely don't outlive your usefulness. If even a fraction of the whispers are true, French didn't break free of a velvet leash, he just locked himself in a golden cage. So yeah, maybe he dodged the hot water in the States, but in Dubai, he might be sitting right on the stove. And through all of this chaos, the loudest voice clowning French is 50 Cent. But pause. What if 50 isn't just roasting? What if he's really warning him? Because 50's always had that big brother energy, the type to roast you hard but still want to see you eat. Sure, he's been dragging French for years, calling him washed, calling him a ditty leftover, but maybe he sees the trap French is walking into. A trap that doesn't look like chains, but still smells like a cage. Flip the perspective though, maybe this ain't a trap for French at all. We're out here saying, damn bro, you sold your soul for protection. But maybe this is exactly what he wanted. Some chase freedom, others chase comfort. French might not see himself as a prisoner in a palace. He might see himself as the chosen one, the Bronx kid who hustled mixtapes and ended up with gold-plated security. We might call it hell, but for him, it could feel like heaven with AC and a driver on call. And that's why 50's shade hits so hard, because deep down, it's laced with truth. 50 built his legacy on independence, owning his name, flipping street power into boardroom dominance. French, meanwhile, might have flipped survival into servitude. So who's really winning? The man still fighting for credibility in rap? Or the man sipping tea behind palace walls, scandal-proof, untouchable, and cushioned by $7 billion worth of insurance? It's messy, it's ironic. And it's the paradox French Montana is trapped in now. To us, he looks like property, but to him, he might feel like royalty. And maybe that's the ultimate twist. 50 Cent can drag him all day. But French might be smiling the whole time because maybe this was the plan from the very beginning. Drop your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more.